Welcome to the City Current Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference and powering the good. And we love talking about Southwest Tennessee Community College. We're honored to be joined by their president, Dr. Tracy D. Hall. How are you doing, Dr. Hall?
I am doing just fantastic. How are you? So happy to be here again with you.
Absolutely. You all are doing tremendous good and so many good things to talk about in terms of new programs and developments. But let's start. Give us a little bit of background in terms of the different campuses, number of students, some of the highlights for Southwest Tennessee Community College.
Well, we are everywhere. We like to say, we always say we are the community's college. And so we have two large campuses, one Macon Cove campus. We have a campus on Union Avenue. It's our city campus. Our Macon Cove campus is in off of 40 and Sycamore View, so right off the highway. So those are our larger campuses. And then we have three centers, one in Whitehaven. We have a Frazier location, the Gill campus, and then we have our Maxine Smith location that is in Southeast Memphis, near Collierville area. And so it's Southwind. And so we are everywhere. We also have some sites, one in Millington, where we partner with the University of Memphis. We lease space there. And then we have a Somerville location where we partner with UT Martin. So we are literally everywhere. And part of our mission is access and success. And so in order to be accessible, you have to make sure that you are where people are. And so that's where we are. And so we're proud of that.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the pandemic. We had you on and your team talking about a lot of the pivots, and you had a lot of pivots during the pandemic. And coming out, there's been a lot of adjustments that you all have had to make, including adjustments in learning styles and how you meet people and the access points. So give us a little bit of a catch up on the pandemic and kind of where we are in the process overall with you all.
Yes, well, the pandemic has just been devastating for all of us in so many ways. And so we focus, of course, on our enrollment and our budget, but of course, that's not to minimize the impact of people's lives. You know, people have died because of the pandemic. So it feels maybe like when we're talking about, well, it really has hit us from an enrollment perspective, poor us. Well, you know, lives have been lost. And so we sympathize and empathize with everyone that has lost lives because of the pandemic. And that has impacted our college as well, because our students and our employees have also suffered losses. And some of them have lost family members or have become ill themselves. And so it's taken a really hard toll on us emotionally from a life perspective, from a business perspective. It has also been very impactful negatively. We've had a $10.3 million decline in our budget, and we've had a 30% decline in enrollment. And that is tied to the fact that, again, we don't want to make this a money conversation where we're saying the pandemic has really impacted us from a budget perspective, because it's a human perspective, and our students have been impacted, and that's why they have chosen, for whatever reason, because they've been impacted by the pandemic, to delay their coming to college. And so what I really want that message to be to them is that we want you to come back, and we understand what has occurred in your lives, because we too have been impacted by COVID, whether losing family members or being ill ourselves. My entire family got COVID. And so that's definitely something that's devastating, and it's scary. And we want for our students to understand that we understand, we want you back, and we're here to support you in whatever way we can, because we get it as well.
And I think that we get it as well. We're in this together, and you understand both the challenges and the opportunities. And so talk about how things are shifting in the sense of students looking for more certifications, short learning cycles, so I can kind of get plugged in, skill up, and then get a job, and then come back and navigate through. So in other words, the formula is a little bit different nowadays because there's a little bit more of an immediate demand, and I need to step into the workforce with some urgency. So talk about some of those educational adjustments that are tied in with job creation.
Right. Well, ironically, what we've had to do because of the pandemic to shift to an online format, to increase our online offerings, to rely more on technology. Ironically, that has been a positive. And ironically, that has been something that we've needed to do before the pandemic. The pandemic forced us to do what we needed to do anyway. So our students, and sometimes with higher ed, we like to have meetings and we think through things, and it's everyone kind of have a role in making decisions. And sometimes that makes things last or take longer than they need to. But what we saw with the pandemic is that we can move quickly. And we did move quickly. And even though there may have been some folks at colleges across the country saying, we don't know that we're going to like this format, we found that it does work. And we can connect with our students, and we can move quickly to meet the needs of our students and business and industry. And what students have been saying, and we have been slow to act prior to the pandemic, they have been telling us that they want to get into their programs quickly and get out quickly. They need money now. They need to eat now. They need to pay bills now. And so where we have been in higher ed, and I will speak for my almost 30 years in higher ed, we have made schedules and programs according to what has been historically what we've done in higher ed. There's the 15, 16-week semesters, and you have summers is an optional. That's how we've always done things. The pandemic has forced us to say we can't continue with that mentality, and our students are demanding that we change how we deliver instruction. Our business and industry partners are demanding a change. And so while it has been a negative from some ways with the pandemic, of course, with the loss of life and emotional toll, the benefits, the positives is that we are forcing ourselves to think differently and to develop accelerated programs, accelerated schedules, to listen to what students are saying is that I don't want to go 16 weeks. Not all of them are saying that, but many of them are saying, I don't want to go 16 weeks. I need something right now. And we are responding to that.
Speaking of responding to demands and to opportunities,
yes.
You look at the travel, all the things that are, in the news lately with the shortage of pilots and in the aviation industry. You're doing something about that, including a whole new program. So talk about this new aviation operations technology program.
Well, we're really, really very proud of that program. And that's one of those, again, we've always been in partnership with our industry partners, and they've always guided our career programs. And so that's not something new to us. We've always done that. And so this is just another example of that. We have two of our foundation board members were pilots with FedEx. And they informed us about the impending shortage of pilots. Now, this was more than 2 years ago. So it took us about 2 years to work through the curriculum, to work through all of the details of funding, because becoming a pilot is very expensive. And most of the time, people, especially in underserved communities, do not have access to these lucrative careers. And so we had to make sure that we had a program that was accessible, but it was also being in terms of accessible financially accessible. And so our two retired FedEx pilots, Captain Albert Glenn and Captain Ed Lyons, again, had worked at FedEx and let us know, you all need to really take advantage of this opportunity to develop a program. And so that's what we did. And so now we're so proud to be the first and only community college in the state with an Associate of Applied Science degree in Aviation Operation Technology. And so a student can come in and there are 3 areas of emphasis. They can focus on aviation administration, becoming a flight dispatcher, or a professional pilot. So that is the first, as I said, in the state of Tennessee, only community college. And so we're so excited for that. But we're excited that what that means is that little boys and little girls that maybe have never thought of themselves in this industry, maybe have never considered a career in aviation, they now have that as an opportunity for them. And it is accessible and an accessible dream. And so I'm very proud of that. And I'm proud of the fact that this program was developed in collaboration with business and industry, as it should be.
Yeah, it's huge news. And I mean, it's extremely exciting, not only for what it means, like you're saying, for, the Mid-South here for our citizens, but for, those, because as you mentioned, becoming a pilot, especially, that's a very expensive adventure, but you can make an amazing career out of it. So the transformation that can take place is monumental, and what it means for our community at large is huge. So it's
absolutely
awesome.
Yes.
Tease us a little bit with some of the other programs, because as you mentioned, you've been innovating and continuing to innovate and come up with a number of creative programs and ways to leverage your experience and skill sets to activating and getting students involved. So tease us a little bit with some of the other programs that you want to highlight.
Our career programs, I don't know. And, I guess when people say that it's a well-kept secret or it's a best-kept secret, that's not necessarily a good thing when you're talking about our programs. We don't want to be a secret. We have some very strong career programs. When you think about healthcare, our nursing program is a signature healthcare program that we have, but we also have a very strong allied health programs where you're looking at pharmacy technology, medical lab technician, EMT, EMS. So you have all of these opportunities to enter into a healthcare field that when we talk about allied health, I'm not sure students understand that that's also a helping field. So when we have students that come and they all want to be nurses because they have experience with nurses, and so they want to be a nurse. And then we say, but there are other opportunities to get into the healthcare field. We have strong partnerships with local hospitals, Methodists and Baptists, where they hire our graduates. And so we are very excited about those programs. We have a partnership with the city of Memphis that I don't think we talk enough about as well. And so it's a PST program, Police Services Technician program, in which you have an 18-year-old that comes out of high school and they go through our PST program, and you probably have seen them around the city. They are in their little brown uniforms, I think, and they're helping like with traffic violations and those sorts of things. But once they go through our program, they can come out at 18 years old, making close to $40,000 a year in that program. And then once they continue their education and become 21, they can go into the police academy and become full police officers. And so that's a pathway to a law enforcement career, but they can start early. And so we have those programs. Healthcare, that's a criminal justice program. We have our advanced manufacturing programs. We have mechatronics program, CNC. We have automotive technology. So we have the technology programs as well. What we are focusing on more now is telling the story about what we offer, helping people to see themselves in these careers, but also that career exposure. And so soon you will see more from Southwest taking our message into the community, because I think that's another thing that we've done. In higher ed, we say, come to us. And we do have all these locations to be accessible, but we need to beef up our visibility. Career fairs, job fairs, church fairs, any type of fair that you may have, so that we can have people to understand what a career in mechatronics, what exactly is that? Because we say all these terms, and I think when we think about people saying that they don't want to go back to college, sometimes we've not made it easy for them. We've used terms that people maybe don't understand. It's just the education lingo. And then we wonder why they don't get what we're talking about, because we're not speaking the language that they understand, because we've created our own little dialogue and our own little jargon. And so we're wanting to when I talk about our mission, it's accessible in terms of how we reach out and make sure that people understand when we say allied health, what does that mean? And what does that mean for you in terms of your career? Also with workforce development, we've also put barriers between credit and non-credit sides of the house. That's what we do in higher ed. It's like, okay, you're coming in on the credit side or the non-credit. Well, we're moving away from those types of silos. And it doesn't matter if you come to Southwest in our workforce and you want to take one class in Microsoft, and it's just that one class, well, then we want to connect you with you and say, okay, you took this one class, but here's a whole computer information technology program that you might be interested in. So we want to show the pathway and help to make things clearer for our students and potential students. And hopefully we can dispel all the myths about higher ed being for folks only some types of people. I really can't stand when people say that folks are not college material. I mean, exactly what does that mean? What does that mean? And so that means, I think that message says to people that I'm not fit for this program, or I'm not fit to go to college, or it makes it be an intimidating process for them. We want to remove all of that. We need to do that.
You are making it easy in so many different ways when you talk about financial assistance, scholarships, access even for high school students to kind of have dual enrollment opportunities. So talk about that side of it in terms of making it easy to plug in and get engaged.
Absolutely. Well, the state has been fantastic, having Tennessee Promise and Tennessee Reconnect. And so if you're in high school, and counselors have been wonderful with the school districts to talk about Tennessee Promise. And there are certain requirements to continue to be a part or to join Tennessee Promise, very easy things to do. And it's quote unquote free. Tuition. I say that because then, you have your fees or you have your books, but it takes away that big barrier of tuition. And so that's one of the number one concerns for students, that they don't want to have a lot of debt when they finish their education. And so with high school students, Tennessee Promise is an option. For older students, and I'd say older, it's 24 and above. If you want to call 24 old, there's Tennessee Reconnect, and it's the same concept. It's free tuition, and so that's a barrier that students can think about. It's removed because you don't have to finish with a large amount of debt, and that's what I really enjoy about working here in Tennessee, with a state that values education to the point where it's saying we will have these opportunities for students to get a tuition-free education.
Absolutely.
That's important.
Wrap up with where we can go to learn more. So how can we carry these conversations forward? Website, social media, where would you direct us to go?
Well, we try to have a really large footprint. So in terms of calling us, the number to call is 901-333-5000, 901-333-5000. You can call and speak to someone about enrolling. We have, in terms of email, admissions@southwest.tn.edu. That's admissions, ADMISSIONS @southwest.tn.edu. And you can go to our website, www.southwest.tn.edu. And you can look and see all of the various programs and the resources I talked about financial resources. We have childcare, we have tutoring, we have mental health counseling. We have all of these resources to help you be successful. So you can check that out on the website. And then you can follow us on Facebook or Twitter. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram handles are all the same. And it's just @SouthwestTN.
Well, Dr. Hall, you and your team are amazing. You do so much good. So thank you for all you do and for coming on the show.
Well, thank you for having us again, and we appreciate it.